gonna do a tiny intro segment explaining the game and its summary, but after thinking about it for a bit, I believe this is best experienced rather than explained. Hello everyone, Stuff here, and welcome to Mole, a game that I personally think is an absolute masterpiece of a horror game. Without further ado, let's begin. I insert the cassette tape into the computer, and it begins to load.
Mare karriere meine matroszka-incydenty. Pomocy piłki jest frekwencji jakoś. Jak się ila, wtedy to udelankę. Kada wylenie ukrynony. Tak wydaje się sygnały z Ukrainy. Front kisan. Osakie firman kisen i kirchwalke ser kobaj ena folk magia. Familjen tračen. Ikke det fikk jeg så. For ikke å se med det for en grav.
A wheat field that stretches far beyond the horizon. I go towards a tree that has a grave underneath it. It has a name written on it, Petro Kaminsky. Judging by the date, they were only 6 years old at the time. A shovel is next to it. I pick it up and start digging.
I'm still here.
I dig deeper
Find me.
and deeper. Crouching down, I spot something. What is that? An alarm begins to play, along with some music. I shut it off and go towards the desk, where I pick up my glasses and read the letter. First off, notice that the recipient's name is Victor Kaminsky, which means the grave was our son's. The letter explains about a debt we can pay off by doing some sort of navigation task, stating that we are the best navigator alive. Stefan Adamenko, the director of the division, was the one behind us being enlisted again. Okay, this music was really fucking annoying, so I lowered the volume for you guys. Sorry about that. I turned on the light, and we see our room for the first time. Pressing tab, it seems we have some Satwilak cigarettes. The description reads, Standard pack, crew issued comfort, always running low. Naturally, I light one up. To our left, I find a children's drawing hung up on the wall. I boot up the computer, and while doing so, I finally stop that shitty radio up. Taking a look at our desk, we find a mole and an angel figure, as well as a bunch of Bibles stacked on top of each other. On our computer, it states that the cassette tape we already inserted in is the key to our dorm. Notice our status, divorced, and we have a criminal history. Victor is a divorced man with a criminal past that probably explains the debt we were in. Judging from our responsibilities, we do course corrections on the vessel we're boarded in, which interestingly is a drill. Getting up, I grab the cassette and place it on the recorder. Notice that it says to not leave it in the panel. Yeah, later on I completely forget about that. The door unlocks and I step outside. Closing the door behind us, I find the engineer Bodan's quarters directly parallel to ours. Seems we need a different type of keycard to unlock this door. To our far left is the administrator quarters, which turns out to be Stefan's, and there's some writing on the wall detailing the team's schedule. On the right side, we find the geologist's quarters, Josip Hertsenko, all of them appearing to be locked for now. A poster from Strata, the company that hired us to drill, with one of their slogans. Going to the main station, it shows an alert for a message we need to access. Notice the date. It's November 9th, 1982. Our target is over 2,000 meters away. Before accessing the message, I go to our left, where we find a washroom, and inside the sink, there's blood and a bunch of teeth scattered all over. Ugh. Finally, we proceed to the communications room where I find a terminal, and behind us is the message receiver. We have a new message transcode, so I take the communications cassette and place it into the device. I grab the cassette tape and bring it over to the terminal. Or at least, that's what I should have done. Instead, for some reason, I decided it would have been a better idea to go outside and proceed to the rec room, which was further downstairs. As you can see, it was absolutely pitch black, and moving my cursor around, I managed to find a faint red dim light illuminating something. I go towards it a bit scared because I don't know what's gonna pop up, and open it. This is a fuse box for the vessel. I take out the fuse and fumble with the switches, trying to turn the power back on. To our right is a side panel with instructions on how to do so. Turns out, we first need to place the fuse cells in, turn their knob to the amount of cells that we have inside, and flip the switches in the order of 1, 3, 6, and 7. I know, haha. After doing so, we push the button until it turns green. I spent like 5 minutes on this part, by the way. Pulling the lever, I turn around. A body laying gruesomely on the floor. An announcement comes in. I went to inspect the body closely. This was the geologist, Yusef. What happened to him? I spot a newspaper next to him. This talks about Dr. Hertsenko and how there was a signal found by him underground. This signal seems to change depending on the person, and ever since the Matryoshka incident, people have been experiencing it one way or another. Going to the screen on top, I spotted an alert stating we need to course correct the vessel as it's off course, obviously. The whiteboard showed that 3 people agreed to abort the mission while 1 refused. Who was it? On the fridge is another article talking about Yusuf. We can assume the signal was the source for these blackouts. A calendar highlights the date of 9th of 1982. Wait, isn't that today? I go to our right, and in order to get into the deck, we need our access card, which I had completely forgotten about. I went back up to the top and finally read the message they sent us. A text from M13.
M13, this is Maria, Circuit Control. What is going on? I know the White Rabbit is disrupting most communications, but you've been at a standstill for over 12 hours now. I hope this is just another Kaminsky issue, but you must get him back into the cockpit. Right now, you are far too off course for the autopilot to keep up without a navigator. This is also a gentle reminder that all ship systems are dependent on the power that is generated by the drill itself, including temperature control. Getting the drill moving again must be your absolute top priority. Otherwise, you'll be boiled alive in a few hours. For now, you will have to divert power yourself by rerouting the fuse box on the REC floor. I refuse to cancel this mission over one drunk. Too much is at stake. Remember, we're all depending on you for tomorrow.
Seems our character has a lot of issues to deal with. In the rec room, I find another door to open. This was the supply closet, or the pantry. There were 2 lockers, and opening them up, I find another fuse we could use. I place it into the fuse box, and it powers up. Inside, we find a progress meter. Wait, I hear something inside the vents. I'm sure it's all nothing. I enter an office, and then, oh, so this is Stefan's office, I see. I then spot a whiteboard talking about the goals of this mission. Our main priority is to find the signal, and also what happened to the previous expedition. On his desk are some notes to read about the crew from his personal journal. Bodan, the engineer, was the one losing the teeth we saw at the washroom, and it stated that it's due to being so deep inside the earth. He has a family back home waiting for him. Victor is suffering from something called the White Rabbit sickness, and it seems the signal is really intent on digging up Victor's past, even though he wants it buried. The best way to cope with it for him is to be heavily intoxicated. Yosef seems to be living in his own world, claiming to receive instructions about the White Rabbit from his deceased friend. He only talks about the signal and nothing else. Lastly, Stefan, who's showing signs of old age. He states that the White Rabbit is keen on reminding him of this, and also perhaps about his daughter or lover. Going outside, I find another washroom, the cockpit, engine area, and laboratory. Everything else is locked. Stefan's office also includes a sticky note with the emergency number attached to it. I tried dialing this number, but nothing happens. Left with no choice, I go back up and spot a screwdriver next to Yosef. Maybe we need to open the vents? I encounter another newspaper to read. This explains that the vessel we are aboard is called the Mole. It is a Strata M13 drilling vessel set to dig to a near impossible depth of 8,700 meters in hopes of locating the source of the enigmatic White Rabbit signal, which has caused so many disturbances across the nation. It also mentions about the previous drilling vessel that suddenly went missing in its lower depths, and that it wants to set things right. I go downstairs and use the screwdriver on the vent cover. It opens, and I crawl in. I start moving painfully slow through the vents, and I'm not able to turn around. Some vines this deep? What was that? I swear I saw something. I kicked the vent cover open. Am I in my office again? A biblical verse. I grab the key from the desk and turn on the system. I am inside the cockpit. Is that a picture of Victor and his son? I see the glasses on their face. I try opening the door and... what? We need to do some vital tasks in order to open the door. First, we gotta update our course and then adjust the RPM of the throttle. Is that Jesus? It says input coordinates, but I see a sign saying pull, and this is probably where we put the coordinates at. I also find a chart stating the RPM needed depending on the density of the ground. Opening the desk, I find another fuse. Neat. I can't go back through the vents again though. Wait, were these on the wall before? I swear I didn't see any of these going in. Wait, is the last one our father by any chance? I then spot some arrows pointing to our left. What the fuck? A door that shows the outside world, filled with warm sunlight. But aren't we underground? It's a classroom board explaining how to use a navigation cassette we were about to get. It would be easier to show it rather than explain it to you. So I grab the tape, take a glance at the posters, and take one last look at the scenery before going back in. I place the cassette tape into the seismic reader. A large bang erupts. Grabbing the tape, I brought it to the terminal to decode it. I get the ground density of 4.00. Looking at the chart, that is an RPM of 30. I then place it on the coordinate reader in order to get my X and Y axis. First, I move the arrow to a safe space away from the terrain, and I do the same for the Y side. After adjusting the RPM, I put the coordinates in. Just want to say it right here, there's going to be major motion blurring when it comes to these parts, as you're going to see, and half of the time I wasn't even able to see a goddamn thing. I wish I could turn it off, but I can't in-game, so the best way to combat this, I guess, is to just keep some distance from your screen. I move it and find the position. Suddenly, I get a phone call from somewhere. Getting out, I go to the office and pick it up.
Victor, they have checked.
наぜどうなんЯ не забув, тільки проще проще. На букмені, Вікторе, проще. Навіть було вісім проще. Воно режим збережу нас під час пірулювання. Воно віже, Віктор. Та не знаю, що це добре. Але могло ні. Правда, звідок потори. Але споки качу придук. Маю показати добре, що зараз несов. Маненчик відкрутя.
Is it Hertsenko dead? I turn around and what?
Be careful.
I go upstairs. Where's the body? Were we dreaming? This has to be a dream, right? The fuses are flickering. Why is it so bloody? I go towards the dorms. What the fuck was that? It was mimicking our crewmates. I pick up my glasses. The door opens. I step outside. Where are we? An angel statue? Unwashed dishes? A tiny bed with a Strata poster next to it. A Bible and some medals. That was the picture from before. The date is September 1982, a couple of months before the expedition. I find some paperwork we can inspect on the counter. This is the debt that we're talking about. What is this Vostok initiative? Is this for our son? Opening the fridge, I find that cassette again. The one from the beginning, and below it, a bunch of beer bottles. I grab the cassette. We are in our office again. I grab our glasses and turn on the lights, shutting off that stupid radio. Reading the note again, it's from Stefan, and it talks about how long it's been since they last spoke. Stefan relates to Victor, saying that the loss of his own beloved hurt him too. He urges Victor to not listen to the signal, as they won't bring his child back. It ends with Stefan stating that his door is always open to him if he ever wants to talk about it. Are any of the things we've experienced so far even real? Going to the computer, this time the status has changed. Notice how it says father under civil status, and under responsibilities it states to fill in for dead crewmates and to keep drilling no matter what. I grab the cassette tape and unlock the door. It's pitch black outside. I noticed that the door to the geologist's room is open. What happened to him? His legs and hands are chopped off, and his head. I see a text on the screen.
Take the cassette. You will need it.
I grab the cassette next to him, and everything is back to normal. Looking around Yosef's room, we can find articles of him cut out. One has a picture of who I presume was his friend's grave. This one talks about the anomalous properties of the signal, such as stating that after the Matryoshka incident, all modern equipment was destroyed, and it found its way through recording devices and trying to overwrite any existing data. The next one shows that Hertsenko had discovered a new element that was consequently named after him, Hertzenium. Logging the cassette onto the PC, we can find what tasks he had, such as collecting rare earth samples and so on. Going out, I see the hallway is a bloody mess. Was this all the creature's doing? We also find a new message to read. I checked my inventory. I opened the door and decoded the message.
M13, Maria here. We at Surface Control had our first moment of joy since the Matryoshka incident when you completed the course correction. Thank you for keeping our hopes alive. Now for the bad news. Our systems have lost track of the signal again. You'd think something that has caused so much havoc up here would be easier to find. I'm aware that Dr. Hrytsenko is the one responsible for interpreting the signal data, but it's been a disturbingly long time since we received any data at all from his lab. I refuse to accept the worst, but you need to make a new recording even if Hrytsenko is unable to do so himself. Otherwise you'll be digging blindly. For tomorrow.
Now that we have the task for the day, I go downstairs from the rec room to the deck, and an announcement comes up. We still can't seem to access the engineer's room, but I was able to open the lab back up. Peering inside, I find a crystal. I turn on the lights and close the door. What is all of this? And why is the circuit board like that? Like it's melting into it. I then find some sticky notes on the right side of the wall. Essentially, it explains that the crystal we saw was the Hertzenium, and it's used to trap frequencies. These signals seem to leave an imprint on the retina, and with that, we can chart where the main signal is located. We need it to be dark in order to do so though. And so, I go and grab the crystal with my bare hand. Interesting. I also find another note on top of the table. This regurgitates the same thing as the notes we saw earlier on the board, but something interesting is the mention of a neural storage cassette. This is designed to carry unstable cognitive data. Doesn't this look oddly familiar? Grabbing the crystal, I place it on the circuit. I really don't know how to describe the shapes we're seeing. While the energy imprint is still there, I turn off the lights. A coordinate grid appears and the eye, it's open. What we have to do is first stare at it long enough and then position it to the grid, giving us the coordinates needed for the signal. Right now, it shows 17.120. So we take this info, and after placing the neural cassette in, we can plug in those cords into the graphing machine. After this, I bring it over to the cockpit and place it inside the computer. A new mechanic that we encounter is that we have to pair up the files that it asks for. After this is done, we can do the same normal routine, which was using the navigation cassette to find the seismic activity, getting the ground density, and also finding the chord/RPM. Great, the autopilot is now engaged. I hear another phone call. A date? I picked up the phone. We are inside of a phone booth. We insert the coin in. I notice we can look around and we can see the surface above us. It looks like we're in a parking lot. To our right are our belongings we brought. The passport is for our son, Petro Kaminsky. Judging by the timeline of the events, he was around 6 years old. I find a picture next to it of his birthday when he turned 5. A phone number for the Vostok Initiative. That picture looks oddly like the neural storage cassette. Next to it lies a parking ticket for a central hospital. Is that where we are? The paper talks about a payment we need to make to Bostock. What's really interesting is the last line. What is the relation between Petro and the neural cassette? I dialed the numbers given to us.
You have reached Alpha Continuity Services. Thank you for taking this step. Before we proceed, please remember preservation is not an act of denial, it is an act of care. A neural cassette has been issued to a registered name. Please enter the cassette identification number associated with this name, then press hash. This ID is associated with the name Petro. If this is correct, press 1. If this is not correct, press 2. Thank you, Kaminsky, for registering with Vostok. Our records indicate that the payment has not been finalized and requires your registration consent. This call serves as verification. To proceed, we will ask you to confirm some details. Enter the age of the person associated with this record, the press number. The age has been verified. Please enter the hospital identification number where the person is currently located, then press hash.
I entered it.
Thank you. The information is correct. You previously stated that the person's last confirmed happy memory occurred on their birthday. Please enter the date of this memory, then press hash. Thank you, the date is correct. Verification is complete. All required details have been confirmed. The total amount due is 39 million ZEV. To confirm payment, press 1. To cancel this request, press 2. The payment has been authorized. The funds will be from your bank account in 1 to 3 work days. Your account is now in debt and may be subject to citizen review. During an on-site visit, a personal recording was collected from you. This recording will now be played back.
All we are is a father trying to make things right like how it used to be.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Due to the subject's critical condition.
That was rough to watch. I go back to the cockpit and do the tasks all over again.
Чужаешь меня, Степан? Эту подам вдруг продай, Аласка. Виктор. Швейчану тече. Не каши никто, просто закняне. говорит. Я казав, це не перевести. Я казав, це не обляшня Степанові. І Крюго наша місію, а воно вас зарядні. Ти отрота, Віктор. Отечу ти таке. Ти сидиш там в своїй кабіні, сважно шоку де la контролєш. Коли едеш рв'яну, курва пеклі трудниці. Тріна шеке в мене. Мільяни віря шека на мене. Mnie się szuku wracki, a kiedy jedziesz tu na mną, liczysz na mnie kazam śmiercia. Ja bjawno ponośna wytrubieno bloku, sygniata rybem. Ja szpurlił wiodny satania. Nie wzięciu promienu, i wciągnął mi psieki. Psakiem sydia jukumli tubini, kudy waski wrio, a wyszlak ja tam, jaj pruniona kompachła. Dobice szklet robre wetsa.
The call ends, and I'm left wondering how far Victor will go in order to save his child. I turn around and plants show up, forming a path to the engine room. Is this all in our mind? Is this the signal's doing? This is all the signal's doing. It wants us to continue. Closing the door behind, I proceed downstairs. Is it me, or is the entrance to the engine bay really long? I find a locked door to my right and head further in. On the desk is a wrench and a note next to it. This note is actually a log from the engineer. The overall gist is that the drill is being held up by hopes and dreams, as it seems. He talks about missing his children and how everyone on this mission is starting to go insane. Victor is risking the entire mission trying to find the signal with that cassette of his. To our left is the storage area with all sorts of parts. I then, for some reason, was able to pick up an engine fan. We might need this for something else. Behind the desk is a locked cabinet which appears to contain explosives of some kind. There's another staircase leading further down. The engineer is dead, his guts spilling out of him. This must have been the monster's doing. The engine lights indicate we need to fix the airflow and coolant. I then spot a vent leading somewhere. Time to dig deeper. I move painstakingly slow through the vent hole. I push forward faster. Looks like we need one more fuse in order to get this thing running again. Placing the fuse in, I go back up. Everything looks like it should be. Going to the rec room, I pull out a fuse and decide to use this as the remaining one. Now that this is done, time to repair the engine fan. Using the screwdriver, I pull out the nails and place the brand new fan I found inside. It seems that there's still one task left. After looking around for a while, I stumble across a pipe that I needed to repair. Looks like the engine failure has been contained for now. Going back up to the stairs, I start heading to the dock, and then I spot something. Isn't this supposed to lead up? Where are we? I crouch down and keep moving forward. Bright fluorescent lights. What was that? I swear I saw something. I cautiously move forward. A dead end. I retrace my steps again. I find the cassette on top of a ledge.
Take the cassette. Hurry.
I need to find that door fast. I started to panic and scramble everywhere. Bro, where the fuck is it, bro? I it died for the first time. I hit retry and have to do the chase sequence again. 311, there it is. More narrow corridors. God damn it, another vent. Am I safe? I needed a breather after that. Who's the one talking to us? Is it our son? Somehow communicating through the ship's computer? We need to complete the tasks again. So I do the same procedure as last time. Finding the coordinates and the RPM. Panel pops up. And I hit the autopilot button. The door opens. An elevator? I press the yellow button and wait for it to come down. I just randomly press floors to go on. A hospital with a sickly color to it. Is this Central Hospital 12? I spotted a pamphlet that I can read. This essentially talks about how, through some brand new breakthroughs in science, the Vostok Initiative offers a chance to preserve a person's consciousness through their state-of-the-art memory cassette. That way, you can truly never say goodbye and maybe one day talk to them again. That's what we did to our son, isn't it? On our far right, I can find an open door we can go into. A poster talking about the initiative. I find a notebook with a list of logs. They essentially talk about how they were experimenting with the patient and the signal. It seems to calm the patient's mind when played. They begin to experience sudden bursts of activity, having all sorts of rambling thoughts. The last log is chilling though, as they required immediate intervention from law enforcement. I find 3 TVs which appear to display CCTV footage. Is that the creature breathing? Wait, that's directly in front of us. I also find a sticky note on one of the lockers stating that if the dead start talking to you, don't listen to them. I guess we don't have a choice though. Looking around the place, I also noticed a newspaper article to read. It explains the Matryoshka incident we have been hearing about throughout the game. It's a series of earthquakes that devastated the capital, rendering all types of electronic devices useless and also starting fires. I go towards where I saw that monster from before. I spot a number written on the screen, 3. The other 2 show a hallway and a TV with static on it. Wasn't this just a black void? Windows boarded up. I have 2 options on where to go next. I take a left. That's the thing from before. I crouch down, not wanting to draw its attention. Isn't that the famous painting of Saturn devouring his son? I push on further ahead. Nothing. Where did it go? I find the playroom, where the TV static was. What type of children's paintings are those? A deck of cards and a newspaper. It explains a possible connection between the Matryoshka incident and the missing M12 vessels we were supposed to find in our mission. What did they find down there? Getting up, I go through the hallways, finding mostly nothing, and then stumble across the door. 311. A burning fire. The door. It's gone. Going back to the receptionist area, I find the number 1 now sprawled across the floor. I explored the map a bit more, and then I noticed I could interact with the TV in the playroom. It's gone? I start walking around, and I can hear its footsteps right behind me, even though I can't see it. I sprint back to the receptionist table again, and a new number appeared, 317. Elevator chime. The key just spawned out of nowhere. I grab it and head to the door labeled 317. This is, or was, Petro. What happened to him? His entire body is covered in bandages and he's being kept alive by a machine. Wait, that's the mole plushie that we had inside our office. Petro, it's time we set you free. There's a note above one of the machines. During the moment of passing, a change of exactly 21 grams occurs in a patient. This is theorized to be a patient's soul. This moment is essential in being captured in the neural recorder. We start turning off the machines one by one. Don't worry, Petro. This will be over in just a moment. I turn off the respirator next. The last thing is the backup life support. We needed to do this in a particular order as a safety mechanism. We captured Petro's soul. I grabbed the neural cassette. It's the next day. I grab my glasses just like usual, the engineer cassette, and another note to read. It's from Stefan. It talks about what I assume is the Matryoshka incident and urges Victor to head home immediately. The last line is chilling. I check the computer. The tasks have changed again. Find your son and do whatever it takes to bring him back. Unjust criminal history. As usual, I opened up the door. It's pitch black outside. Guess all I can do is access the engineer's quarters. His items are scattered all over, and then I spot Petra, or what's left of him. These are his memories. We can read them. There were a lot of entries, and this would take forever to go through, so I will just highlight some of the ones I found interesting. This one talks about Petro's experience while in the hospital he was in. He could barely move or talk, and sometimes he heard voices, one of which seemed like his dad. This gives a bit more context on Victor's father. It states that he was also a navigator, like Victor was, and that they were going to go on an expedition to drill the deepest anyone has ever gone. The last one I'm going to show you is a memory of Petro and Victor walking up to a tree that was in an empty field. He asked Victor if he could build a swing on the tree. Could this be the one we saw in the beginning of the game? I grabbed the cassette. On the engineer's desk is a card from who I assume is the wife? Picture of his wife and kids. I go to the geologist's quarters again, still very bloody. I find another note on top of their desk. This letter is addressed to his friend, where he explains that ever since he was exposed to the signal, he's been hearing their voice again. The frequency it emits are similar to brainwaves, but are far more complex and vast than anything he's ever encountered. The signal can be trapped in the crystal known as Hertzidium. It ends with Yosef stating that they're very close to uncovering the truth about all of this. We got another message again from the surface, so I encode it on the cassette and play it out.
M13, I'm sorry to say it, but this mission is a disaster. It's been several days now since any contact from you, and now you've hit a dead end. Navigating through the layers below you is far too precise for our instruments. We can't risk another Matryoshka incident. We are terminating your autopilot systems in order to save power while we are discussing extraction. I assure you, no one wants this, especially when you are so close to the M12 vessel. But sometimes you have to accept reality.
Don't listen to their
Signal. It will bring back our son. I just know it. I go downstairs to the cockpit, and it seems we have a new task to do. We need to fire torpedoes from the drill in order to break the rocks, holding us from drilling deeper. I go downstairs to the engineer room, and we can now open the door that we couldn't previously, the torpedo chamber. In order to start blasting away, we need to complete 2 steps first. We gotta unload the chamber by rotating the wheel, sliding it to the left, and pulling it up. I then spot a key hanging on top of one of the hooks. This is the key to the torpedoes we need. So I go back to the lock cabinet from earlier, a flower path again. I unlock it and grab one. Heading back to the chamber, I place it in and seal it shut. Next, I grab the handles and wait for the torpedo to come in contact with the ground. As I go back to the cockpit, I hear a phone call again.
Victor, this is Stefan. Только сега експлозия на вас е. Бъде? Ти носи в пътеки. Пътеки възмени, пола войки бакопай. Купами, если вы себе посвикат бедику, подъедем мъжли, възмижа маточа. Здраве да ви, себе хвън ме ауто поле у вас е. Ти бесиле в въземаймен твели век себе качиндане. Lua, wie mich nach Josef den Bodan leben. Buckelei oder mit dir.
Trust you, Victor.
call ends. Going to the cockpit. We need to place our credentials in order to manually pilot. I place them in. Looks like we need to use the neural cassettes again in order to find the waypoints. I go back to the lab, use the crystal, and plug the cords in. Obviously by now you probably know the steps that I need to do, so I'll just skip it. It's moving. Signal is moving for some reason. I need to adjust the RPM again. I place the key in and a time limit starts. I quickly start doing the steps. Errors start to occur. When will this end? It's not loading. I had to reboot the whole computer again. I placed the cords in. Huh? Aren't those the right one? It was actually 83. Weird. I placed it at the RPM again and start locating the signal. For some reason, it took forever, so I sped it up for you guys. It needs to change again. It's locked out. I need to go back to the lab. The timer is sprawled all across. I placed the neural cassette in and tuned the cords. What the? I use Petro's cassette instead. Again, I start doing the task. I turn around and everything is covered in sticky notes. I can't do anything. I guess I need to follow them. It gives coordinates and an RPM. My glasses. I'm blind now. I start removing the post-it notes and try to find the cord. I don't know how I even spotted the signal, it was just so blurred. Oh my god, we need to do the torpedoes now. I race downstairs, grab the torpedoes, and arm them. I think we're safe now. I head back upstairs and a fire broke out. I storm into the cockpit and the vessel indicates to turn it off. The door is shut behind us and I switch the ignition key. How can we see again? Did we even need the glasses in the first place? A fire is raging through the vessel. I find another biblical inscription to read. What is that noise? It sounds like it's coming from above the vents. I spot a fire extinguisher leaning on the doorframe and grab it. Walking through the rubble, I extinguish the flames. Everything is destroyed, but I push on. I have to. Wait, there was never an elevator here. I go outside to take some fresh air in. And continue on. The earth is shaking beneath our feet. slowly make our way through the floor. Ignoring the ground beneath us, I crouch down through the high beams and door with one goal in mind. Where is Petro? "311. We wake up. This time, there wasn't any music, just silence. 333, the angel's number. Our only goal is to dig and find the signal. As usual, we find a letter on the desk, again from Stefan, this time stating that he's disappointed that Victor rejected his offer to be a navigator for M12. But he understands why he did so. It's hard for him to abandon his son, when his father has done the same to him. Opening the door, another message again from the surface above. Downloading the message, I viewed it.
M13, whoever is reading this, I'm so sorry. We finally had an update from Stefan about the state of the mission, about Yosef, about whatever monstrosity has made its way into the vessel with you. If only we'd known, the following information is absolutely critical. In Stefan's dorm, there is a gun case. There's just a single bullet on board for the most unthinkable of emergencies. I hope it can save you now. Make that shot count. For tomorrow.
If we can get that gun, maybe we have a chance against that monster. Going back to the dorms, I spot the captain's room is now open. A poster of their country and message logs. The next log is 2 months later.
Coordinates seem to have been updated
last law.
I'm not about to let your stubbornness be the death of you. You, if anyone, should know that sometimes the commander has to face reality, Stepan. I'm telling you this as a friend. If you extract me without Central Command permission, heads will roll. You know how the situation is up here. The earthquakes, the constant blackouts, the fucking dead who won't shut up. As long as even a single crew member remains alive, the public won't accept you giving up. We can't always save everyone we care about, Stepan. When we extract, we are going to need someone to take responsibility. And no, Stepan, it won't be you.
The government doesn't care about the lives lost. They only want results. I find the gun case on top of Stefan's bed. This case can only be opened when all crewmates agree to use it. Every crew member has a number assigned at random. May God help you. I see a padlock holding the case in place. The first number we find is the third digit, 5. In Yosef's room, we find the number for the first digit, 8. In our room, we find the number for the second digit, 3. And so, I guess the last one. I open the latches and find the gun. The door slams behind us. I hear a phone call ringing and answer it.
Viktor. Прекратись, Степан. Это экстракционный. Экспертиза определила рапорт. Стратус секретарь саботаж. Отыграть секретарь секретарь. Попросили меня, а мы вторым присягну. Ты можешь мне кем подскажи мне чукуша. Юн сидит в юге без людей проводи. Попросили я вызываем ли меня, вызывает абсолютно. Пока я просто выкрутил работу. Так я сигем идем. Если пока разбегем из Виктора, всякие фасвавини. Alle grejer gav så mycket genom så. De min просто выкрутяет om беги.
The light begins to flicker and the ground begins to shake. What is that? I move towards it. A white rabbit? I start following the rabbit as it patiently waits for me. Plants? Here? A lamppost in a dense forest. Where is it leading me to? It jumps down the hole. And so do I. a flashlight on the ground. I picked it up. This is a cave. The rabbit is now dark. It is guiding us. I take a tiny detour and find a wooden statue of an angel. I slowly start crawling underneath the tight corridor. It becomes so impossibly tight. I don't understand how we're fitting through. I hear water and then spot a skeleton with a red robe and candles around it. Looking up, there's a long hole directly above it. I start crawling again. A blood moon and statues begging, praying, kneeling to. I spot glasses on them. Is that us? Victor? I go towards the altar. Placards of a long foretold age. Fishes swimming around the pond. Above, a bright, shining light leading us to salvation. That's the skeleton from before.
An angel descended onto the earth. The first witness lay wrapped in swaddling cloth. The angel taught truth and secrets only she truly understood. All flesh withers, some flowers are cut before they can bloom. The people mourn the ways of the world. The angel refused the cruelty of fate. He shattered the boundaries between life and death. They feared a world unaligned with the tyranny of their dogma. Thus, the angel was condemned and cast down. The angel was imprisoned beneath the earth. The knowledge he had given them became its chains.
Our salvation. We unknowingly broke the tomb of the angel in order to open this door. We must align the paintings with how they were talked about in the text. This one shows the angel giving its knowledge, the crystal we've been using, to the person in the red robe. Humanity used this crystal to cast the angel onto the ground below. After placing all of them in the correct order, the door opens to a massive cathedral. I take a full look at the divine cathedral before us. Take the ewer and pour it. I grab a cig, lit it up, and toss it in. Going back upstairs to the cockpit, I find the telephone? Whatever.
Turn around.
I turn around and start descending. The call.
Навигатор. Ты чешь меня? Засудуем твоя побода соглашения. Strata неприемно вскок. Lojalista на kaikki murovitysniä. Domjushu vorottava tebe. Mais нашли дулолisen kari. Kalatovi šokovravia senetak. Proszę rozpaja, a i temperus ne prokuitume. Von vradisil kulinašni kuruplaš. Joku sinne baladistajan on šokone kristia. Elsonin, roklin sinänsä vor.
You must overcome it.
Hallo, prosulla rakkata. Odnaan ploskvassitili. Skratskalatovia. Sissovskala kuruvisil kulinašni valassateri. Ekostala kumarovitysne provistia.
The call cuts, and I start descending downstairs. Again, a hospital? Sticky notes everywhere, and it looks so worn down. Where are we? This is the fuse box from the rec room, and there's some diagrams on it. Looks like we need to find the other fuses to activate it. In order to unlock the door leading to the treasure, you must first find the yellow fuse. I go around and spot a ladder with a cross on it. I then also spot the room that we need the red and yellow fuse to access. Finally, I take the fuse out and start unlocking the yellow door, turning it to 1, flipping the switches 1, 3, 6, 7, pressing the buttons, and pulling the crank down. The door opens and we enter in. Another cathedral, but it's so worn down. And there's blood. This is the receptionist desk from the hospital. All bloody. I go through the hallway. Isn't this the classroom from a while ago? It's pitch dark outside. A body of who? The mole plushie. That was our son. A hole opens up into a bloody flesh-like area. It's guiding us somewhere. Large spinal structure. Petro, our son, all bloodied up. The fuse. Panicking, I quickly turn on the power to the other door. I forgot to do the steps again. I go back and start doing it as fast as I can. Everything begins to distort. Are we safe? I take a moment to breathe. Our son's drawing and a single bullet. We know what to do. I open the door. Closing the revolver, I shoot. Now that the monster is gone, I take a moment to smack my nuts across its face for all the horrifying moments it just put me through, bro. Oh, buddy, don't you worry, son. I am really digging deeper into this man's face right now. After all that, I step outside to finish the mission to save our son. With nothing left to do, I start heading to the cockpit, a hole in the charred remains of the engineer. I jump into it. We are aboard the M12. A log from one of the crew members. It talks about how they picked up readings of the signal. It has its own signature. Everything is overgrown, plant life consuming most of the vessel. Seems the computer still works, which is good. But the recovery mode isn't. We are only 3 meters from the signal. We need to go further down. They wanted to extract, just like us, but there were people against it. What compelled them to remain here? The Hertzinium crystal. A body. What are the crew members? Crystals are growing from them. Neural cassettes are also all over them. We need to dig deeper. We have to. We are at its core, pulsing with energy. I find a report on the desk. Is that Victor's father? I insert the cassette in. Damn it, the signal is still too weak. I flip the switches. I push away the corpse and turn on the ignition. With one final push, I flip the switch to save my son. Overwriting? What? I wake up and it is bright and early in the morning. Turning off the alarm. I find a birthday note I had written for Petro. This note talks about how Victor wants Petro to get a job, get married, and have a bright future ahead of him. Whether he wanted to be studious or a little rascal, he will always support him through thick and thin. He just wants his son to be happy. Opening the door, I find birthday balloons scattered all around, and the rejection note earlier from Stefan, a picture of us together. Our navigation certification. His drawings. And what's interesting is that we find an article about our dad. It seems he was a great navigator himself, having gone the deepest descent in history. But Kaminsky wasn't satisfied. He wanted to go down deeper. There were also other reasons too, things he couldn't discuss publicly. He wasn't that much present in his son's life, and for that reason, he wanted Victor to have the opportunity to stay at home and give his own grandson something he didn't give to him. When asked if he didn't want Petro to experience having a grandfather, Kaminsky replied, when he comes back, he will have a great story to tell little Petro. I get up and go to the other room. Petro's room. A large grassy field with a tree in the middle. I walk towards it. And find a child swinging on one of its branches. Petro.
Давайте подавзо.
Patyka. Patyka dwie teraz jest verga savage. Det är väldigt kallt hos mig inte. Så för kallt för det var inte.
Просто диати ме касети.
Ja.
Да ти пожелани метим.
И не возьмите, только разделите все неди.
I placed one tape into the computer.
О, святте. Стум да представсти ме смаз.
И я бы тебе сделал Каминский.
Ти прави си идиот.
Ciekawe, gdzie.
Продължячи записачи. Ми писали за мен свего от кабинетен в дебана. И си пази пистолетка за левецки варианти.
Чупили до уеда адаменко и до бедна.
А настоявали som Viktor vill ni взебet аби. Вот так, патрони. И се обил напривана.
Tape 2.
Да видиш реценко моите висигерета. Кибарди басгер.
Te bam salam dżemot Sirius zapaju wieku na wczoraj to napривана. просто устал.
Motiviska symbiotiska problematier. Shigatsu signalitika. Yobashi svobodisivo.
Да, Каминский был мне более неизвестен.
И мы тебе смеялись, ведь Каминский, я не сильно уйду поднястись.
Tape 3.
Ситуация МТ-13 скажите, заводи зоны мануба. Сукат Каминский и Усукативы сотто бен за семью.
А не смеем Богдан Плужник, я забыл его сломить?
Ni, vi betyder Kaminski kid. Drago vilka se på Tjukal på Slutsnikri se Kaminski. Zak Dikarki Fusakir. Snart var det efter precis jag gjorde det honom.
Tape 4.
Det där var så lite en klass. Så det fick igenom Kaminski i den som jag vill.
Бедняга.
Kjellor och nyheter för keyboard till den keyboardverkas. Och ibland röver till kallt. Kaminski just got Kazilo och Kazilo killed. Stocket sättet verkar inte något som en mission.
И я доли имела только сигнал.
Ja, det är bättre. Du kan rätt för respekt att det som är genom som gör sig och fara.
Это миссия не на мудрость мне. За дело глобинарсили чапа. И вот мы здесь еще не вреда. Не просто не ушло напрасно.
На завтра, да.
На завтра.
Petro's cassette. Maria puts it in. My game crashes. Putting it back up, everything around us is overgrown. How many countless cities destroyed? Taking the cassette and placing it back, we get a countdown. This number keeps glitching out, but it is still ticking down to something. And so, that was Mole. Man, that was an incredible game, if I have to say so myself. Everything from the horror to the story was just phenomenal. As you can see by the runtime of this video, it's fucking long. And as I had stated in my last video, this was going to probably be the longest video ever on this channel. The countless hours editing, scripting, it was really something, and I hope some result comes out of it. If you had made it to the end of this video, first off, really thank you, I really appreciate it. This is like a fucking movie level runtime. And second off, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We're so close to hitting 2,000 subscribers, if you can believe it, and it would just be amazing. For this end section, I will also do a quick summary of what happened throughout the story, as I know there was a lot to process. Essentially, Strata, the company we worked for, hired our dad to find a mysterious signal deep in the Earth's core. This eventually led the vessel, M12, to go missing as the crew decided to cut the extraction cables in order to prevent others from finding out what they had found, which was the awakening of the White Rabbit signal and how it wants to take over the world. The signal somehow was able to cause the Matryoshka incident, which resulted in Petro being burned and falling into a coma. The signal knew about Victor and how he already had such a weak mind to manipulate, especially because of his absent father and his wife divorcing him. It forces Victor to bring Petro's neurocassette, which is used to contain a person's consciousness, into the mole, and also kill all the crew members. This monster that we see is actually Stefan, who thinks he can somehow change Victor into becoming sane again. This promptly backfires on him, and well, you know the rest. Now the signal manipulates Victor in many ways, telling him that they are an angel and how they're going to bring Petro back to life. Obviously it doesn't, because it records itself into Petro's cassette, overwrites his son's consciousness, and kills Victor and his son off for good. Now Maria is the person we were communicating with on those cassettes, if you remember, and she gets curious as to why Victor would go to such drastic lengths in order to capture the signal. She plays it, and technology and the world as we know it ends. Now, I don't know what the countdown is, but looking online, people are saying to wait a month or so to see if this releases some kind of teaser. If you guys happen to know what it really means or what it shows, please be sure to let me know down in the comments down below, because I'm really curious on that. As always, thank you again for watching this video till the end. This was a journey and a half. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.